I got cystic fibrosis. See, I've got cystic fibrosis.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another week of Staying Salty. So, I had a hell of a week, guys. I'm just gonna give it to you guys straight this week. How do you know when to go into the hospital? How do you know when to make that call to the doc? Say, hey, I'm sick. I need some help. I have a different approach to this, so I don't know if I'm the best advice to follow. Of course, if you ask me, I'm going to tell you what I think. But I got two different ways I'm going to explain to you guys. So the old days was when I was sick constantly, and it was like clockwork, guys. I would get out of the hospital, be feeling good, eat, work out, do my normal thing, right? 7 days later, my heart rate would start rising at resting. My oxygen would start depleting. My SAT, so I had an O2 checker at home. Felt short of breath walking from the living room to the kitchen, and I'd immediately need to go into the hospital and do IVs. So my process always used to be, as soon as I started feeling short of breath and tight, as if I couldn't walk to the kitchen or couldn't walk to the bedroom, whatever it may be, without getting short of breath or my lungs hurting, whatever, normal tasks I started having a hard time doing, that's when I would call and say, okay, here's what's going on. Now, of course, I was always given the option to go in the hospital and do IV antibiotics, but my preference is always to do oral antibiotics first. Stay out of the hospital as much as possible. I try to live a normal lifestyle. I had work, I had school, things like that. So I'd always do oral antibiotics. Now, sometimes that worked. Sometimes I do oral antibiotics and I'd be fine for a month, maybe two, and then it would happen again. Sometimes I do oral antibiotics, and after 5, I'd usually give anywhere from 3 to 6 days. They usually say, 2 to 3 days of oral antibiotics until they really kick in, I think. But after 3 or 6 days, depending on how much I could tolerate, if I wasn't feeling better or I was getting worse, especially if I was getting worse, then that's the time, guys. I mean, it sucks, but that's the time where it's like, look, at this point, I'm spinning my wheels. I'm becoming more unproductive because I feel so bad I can't get stuff done than I would be if I just took the time to go in the hospital, get my IV antibiotics, and then get out and start back fresh. So I say that's kind of my rule of thumb. If it gets to the point where you're becoming more unproductive because of how bad you feel versus going in the hospital and spending all that time in the hospital or doing your IV antibiotics, then that's when it's time. So nowadays, a little bit different, guys. You guys know I use essential oils. I realize not everyone uses that, and that's why this topic's kind of different for me because some of you guys aren't gonna be able to relate. But what I do now is I really try to stay away from antibiotics at all. So I take azithromycin Monday, Wednesday, Friday, which is an oral pill, and I take my inhaled antibiotics every other month. But as far as like oral antibiotics, IV antibiotics, I try to stay away from. There's a lot of reasons. The main reason being, I truly believe the more you use antibiotics, it seems like the weaker your immune system gets, the more you have to rely on antibiotics, the more frequently you need them, and the more frequently you go in the hospital. So that's just been my experience from me watching my disease progress in my life. So anyway, point being, I try to stay away from antibiotics altogether. So what do? As soon as I start feeling sick, such as a cold, such as I'm getting a short of breath today, and it's reasonable to, meaning I know I didn't go have a hard workout. I know I wasn't playing around the house with jacks all day and going to the trampoline park and stuff like that. If it's something that I know I'm not worn down physically, this is just my actual health hitting me, then I immediately start to drink more water. I usually carry a gallon around with me, or I carry actually a shaker cup now. I don't have one down here, but I carry a shaker cup because I can chug water the fastest out of that. At that point, water isn't just to be refreshing. Like, it's not enjoyable. It's literally has a purpose. It's to rehydrate your body and flush all the toxins out. I try to eat more food, so it's very hard. You guys, I'm sure, know if you have a low appetite, or especially if you're short of breath. I put my chicken strips in, and I didn't even put a freaking timer on it. How stupid was that? Anyway, if you're short of breath, and I'm worried about my food. If you're short of breath and crap, guys, what the heck was I saying? Anyway, if you're getting short of breath doing daily tasks, and you have a low appetite, it's going to be hard to eat. You know, you're not going to want to eat because you have low energy, you have a low appetite. Eating, to me, if I eat a lot of food, it actually makes it harder to breathe because your stomach expands and pushes on your lungs. So I get it. That's what I'm saying. But I try my hardest to eat more. Your body needs fuel to fight off that infection. Well, another thing I do is I take a vitamin C pill. So vitamin C is for immune health. I take it every morning. But when I'm sick, I also take an emergency packet at night, if not also in the afternoon. So 2 more emergencies. Then, as you guys know, I'm into oils. So I immediately am strict on my regimen. I make sure I put oils on my wrists and my feet every morning and night. And I actually diffuse my oils at least for an hour, if not 2 hours a day. And you guys, oh, I did put a timer. They're done. Let me get those. All right, guys, chicken's done. We're good. So I know some of you guys are going to say, well, how does that help me? I don't use essential oils. And that's fine. And that's why I told you my first process before. But I use my oils very heavily, especially when I'm sick. I diffuse them. There's certain blends, certain oils that are antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal, and some that are just boost overall immune health. So I will use each one of those separately, or I will also combine them into one and make a blend. And I diffuse that blend. So I understand you guys might not do that. You're not going to do that. That's probably not going to be helpful for you. But that is just my process. If for some reason, such as like the flu virus, right? It's very hard to fight off and whatnot. If I have the flu virus, which is a virus, antibiotics don't even work, but you know, you go on Tamiflu, whatever. But if it's something as bad as the flu virus, where I just feel so bad, so knocked down, then that's when I call and I ask for oral antibiotics. And I realize, guys, you know, I feel like crap at that point. And it's very, very hard to call and just say, you want more pills. You don't want to go into the hospital and get IV antibiotics. Because the hospital, guys, it sucks. But at the same time, you guys know, it's your safe haven. You're getting medicine there. If anything happens and you get worse, you're already at the hospital. You're getting food brought to you. You're getting your respiratory treatments brought to you. So everything is very convenient. However, it takes time out of your life, your family, your friends, your job, whatever you have going on. And on top of that, medical bills. I don't know if you guys have to deal with that, but like, long story short, insurance has a problem paying for home IVs, and it is a freaking mess. But anyway, guys, so I'm going to go share one experience with you guys before I sign off here, and that is this past fall, back in, actually it's Halloween time, so October, I started to get sick. And I had not been to the hospital in 2-3 years almost, but I started to get sick, and I tried doing the oils. I diffused them more. I don't know if I was simply out of some of them or they just weren't working. Either way, it doesn't matter. But I started getting worse and worse. It got to the point where I got on oral antibiotics, and I was on oral antibiotics for, I want to say 2 or 3 days, okay? And I was having to skip work. I was having to stay home from work. Luckily, I do have the tech job, so I can work from home. But I was having to stay home from work. I was fatigued all day. Didn't really feel like working. Was tired nonstop. Didn't feel like getting up and going to the kitchen. And we live in a house that has a basement, a main floor, and an upstairs. So the bedrooms are upstairs. So it was very hard for me to get out of bed, come downstairs, get food, and then I'd have to eat it downstairs. It was very hard for me to make it back upstairs. And it was just the point, guys, where it was 3 days on oral antibiotics. I wasn't feeling any better, and I thought I was doing okay. So Amanda, my fiance, was calling me and checking on me throughout the day, and I thought I was doing okay. And she got home, and I remember I was in bed, and I was like, I was fine, you know, I was like stable. And I remember getting out of bed and trying to walk down to the stairs to see her, you know, to greet her when she got home. And as soon as I got out of bed and started walking, it was like I just wanted to fall down. Like, it just felt like my chest was heavy. It felt like I was short of breath. I felt I was immediately tired. Like, I immediately wanted to go back to sleep. which when I was sitting in bed, it wasn't the case. So that was the point where that night she saw that, I saw that, it scared her, and I was like, you know, I don't want to go to the hospital. Let's give it a couple more days of oral antibiotics. And she's like, Brian, you need to go in. This is getting pretty bad. You need to go in. And I felt bad. You know, you guys probably feel this way too, but I felt bad because I do go to a clinic 4 hours away. So I needed help driving 4 hours away to clinic. And luckily Amanda was like, look, I will take off work tomorrow. I will drive you tonight. Please, can we go? Are you okay with going? And she wasn't going to do something I didn't want to do. And I didn't want to go, but I knew in the back of my mind, you guys have been through this. I knew it was probably the best thing to do. And we actually got in the car it's like 7:30 at night. I was sitting on the bedroom floor talking this out with her because I didn't feel like walking, didn't feel like moving, didn't want to crawl back into bed. And she's like, you look awful. Like, you know, we need to go in. And anyway, I sat in the passenger seat. I didn't have any oxygen, supplemental oxygen to carry with me, anything like that. Usually at that point, if I just sit and I'm still, I'm okay. I've been times where I've been really bad. I've actually had to like breathe in the air conditioner air coming through, and that actually helps. But yeah, I used to have supplemental oxygen that's transportable, but I haven't needed it in so long, so I just don't have any. But anyway, guys, so we drove 4 hours that night, checked myself into the emergency room, and you know, I sat in there. I was in the hospital for 4, maybe 5 days, I think 4 days. And they sent me home on IV antibiotics for the remaining 10 days. So, yeah, guys, it sucks. I know it sucks. You guys have been through it, I'm sure. It's always a hard call. My approach is to stay away from antibiotics as much as possible. And the only way I know to do that is increase your fluid intake, increase your food, increase your vitamin C, you know, emergency stuff like that. And just try all you can to fight it off, and at some point sometimes you can't. So I usually give oral antibiotics anywhere from 3 to 6 days. If I'm really stubborn, I will do 6 or 7 days, and if I don't feel better, I'll go in. Otherwise, like that time I just described, if it gets really bad, it's only been 3 days, I'm getting worse and worse, you gotta bite the bullet and go. So anyway, guys, that's what I say. That's how I approach it. It's always a tough decision. It's always a decision that sucks. It's never going to be fun. So don't think it ever gets easier. And yeah, guys, I hope that helped you guys. I know some of you don't use essential oils, so I gave you the first approach as well as the second. But hang in there, guys. Stay healthy, and don't wait too long to call. You don't want to get worse, and you don't want to damage your lungs even more. So that's the other side that's really important to sometimes just bite the bullet and go. But anyway, we'll see you guys next week. I think we actually might have a break coming up. So if we have a break, I'll see you guys when the season starts 2 weeks from now or so. If we don't have a break, I'll see you guys next week. As you can tell, I am all over the place. This week, I will share with you guys more on my personal channel, Larry Brian CF. But I'm scattered, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Hashtag stay salty, guys.
See, I've got cystic fibrosis.